Well, hello! Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valerie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, here to help guide you on your burning adventures. And I'm joined today with hubby.
Okay.
And hopefully everything sounds and looks good. You know, you guys got to catch up to me. And we're going to be working on Barry the Bear, as you guys named him. This is on 16 by 20 Baltic Birch. And I'm starting off with the Optima. Yay, audio and video good. We got a new camera and I'm actually using the audio for that camera instead of something else. So hopefully everything will run smoother. Hi Eve, hi Angel, hi Lisa, hi Kathy. Let's see here. Hopefully I didn't forget anybody else so far. So I'm going to start off with the spear shader. And if I need to zoom in, actually it kind of looks like I could zoom in a little bit more. So we shall do that. What's funny is all the settings are in a different place now. So I gotta find them. Alright. Here we go. I've already been heating at the tip and I'm testing it on my birch. I'm thinking I'm going to start working right here in his snout, mouth, dark fuzzy area. And I'm set on 3.5. It's a little colder in here, so it might take a smidge longer. And then we will get into today's topic. Hi, Beetle. So this area here in the snout needs to be darker. Make sure I'm not too dark, and then I'm going to start off in my dark and bring it in.
Whoa. Juan Pedro Lopez says, thank you for teaching. Greetings from Montevideo, Uruguay.
Well, hello, Juan. Thank you for joining us. Now for you guys, hopefully this is a better view, but I have a bit of a glare going on, so I'm having to adjust and burn with my head sideways. As long as you guys can see, that works. There we go, so just getting this darker. I need to be a little more confident in my strokes on jumping in. I think that's part of why I've slowed down, is being a little too cautious.
Shelby Burns says hi.
Hi, Shelby.
And Lisa says hi.
Hello, Lisa.
Did you already say hi to Lisa?
I did, but I can say it again.
Sorry. I just woke up from a nap.
A nap. Yeah, I don't get my nap till later.
God had to wake me up because I was in the middle of deep in the middle of a dream where I was on a game show destroying children's toys with a katana. I don't know why my brain had a temper tantrum or something.
It did.
It was a really deep sleep. That has nothing to do with art, though. Maybe. Maybe.
Well, who knows? It could be a painting in the works.
No.
No?
No. No one wants to see that.
So this is the Optima, and I'm using the spear shader, which is the 18M. And I can go darker. So let's go darker. I bumped it up to about 4.25. Give it a minute to reheat back up and start off in my dark and pull it down. So I've been seeing a lot of new artists.
Oh. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
There's Jackie Moore. Says hello.
Hi, Jackie. Hi, Fu.
Yep. Andrew's here.
Hey, Andrew.
And Eve is here. Eve was here, though.
Yeah, Eve was early.
Sorry, Toasties. Still waking up.
I'm about 10 minutes ahead of you, aren't I?
I know.
Can you guys hear Jason okay? He's further from the mic on the camera. And I know people like to hear the questions. So, okay, so today's topic First of all, this is the Vanish 4-in-1 eraser. I have the link down in the description. Get rid of some pencil lines. So, I have been noticing in all kinds of groups, whether it's pyrography or just art in general, I'm seeing a lot of people saying that because they can't draw, they're not an artist, even though they're doing artwork. And I can understand the frustration if they don't feel like they're achieving what they want, but when you talk negatively to yourself, you're less likely, more so, to not achieve. If you're creating any kind of art, whether it's music or writing or visual and anything in between, you are an artist. You are creating. You are creating in some ways something that did not exist before. Even if you were working strictly from a photograph. Because that form of photograph that you're making, like this bear, though I have that picture of the bear, this piece of wood did not exist with this bear on it. He might be waving to the trees, but he wasn't on a tree. And I really think a lot of people don't improve the way they want to because they're so down on themselves. Hint, hint. Oh. That was for you too.
Okay. You talking about my week?
No, I'm not talking about your week specifically. I have been seeing, in fact, it's happened even...
It's applicable, though.
It is applicable. But I have seen, even within my group, the Drawing with Fire Pyrography group, I've seen a couple of comments of, I'm not an artist, so, or I can't draw, or a combination of any of those in between. And I'm hoping to help build some self-confidence, because when you have more self-confidence, you're more daring, and when you're more daring, even if you think you screwed it up, you still learn something.
That's true.
So, confidence equals daring, which I'm just going to jump in and be daring myself right now, based on my reference photos. This is really dark on this side because his arm has the shadow going on. And I know this needs to be darker. I just got it there where it's at for now. And I'm at a 5. If you feel you're having issues with your drawing, your drawing skills, there are some things that you can do to help improve. And in improving, again, your confidence goes up. And when I'm saying confidence, I'm not talking about ego of I'm the shit. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about looking at whatever your art piece is, but in this particular case, pyrography.
You just cussed.
I did just cuss. Did I throw you off?
A little bit.
I did, because ego and confidence, though they can go together in a negative way, what I am talking about is not that. Granted, in pyrography it's a little harder because, and I saw, I'm sorry, I'm going to stop. I saw a comment that this is part of what I wanted to mention.
Angel says you're in Viking mode.
I'm in Viking mode?
Get your hat.
Let's see here. I saw it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to go back and chat because I saw.
Is it Aristi more Jackie?
It is. Hi, Aristi.
Says, I think I am a crafter, not an artist.
Yes, that's the comment I wanted to go back to.
I thought it was.
Even if you do crafts and you do this as a hobby or any craft as a hobby, you are still an artist. You are still creating. I know I looked up because I was curious what Oxford and Merriam-Webster had to say, and they only linked being an artist as one who creates art. That's it.
I can weigh on this on an academic level. Well, it used to be that the art world was kind of snooty about this. It's like, well,
I think they still are.
You have to paint and sculpt, otherwise you're not an artist. But with more and more things that have been unearthed, and realizing that there's a need to add additional things that are absolutely artistry, now there's all kinds of things, textiles, and it doesn't matter what it is, but a lot of them fall under the category of what's called portable art, but it's still art. And this has been like a long battle to get crafts into the
art world.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always been art. There will always be art, but that's recognized. They're recognized as portable arts.
Haven't heard that term.
It's newish.
Newish. Portable arts. So does pyrography and for the snooty art world fall into portable art?
It depends on the snooty person, because there's plenty of snooty people who would say that my work isn't art.
Even though you work with traditional art supplies.
They could say, oh, you know what, he's not working in a traditional method. It's not art. But I think that there will be a continuing problem with that for a long time, where you have people who are like, well, that's not art, whatever it is that they're just, talking about, because maybe they want to be negative about it, or
I think it's more of trying to keep it to themselves and not letting others in.
Well,
they want to have the title versus anybody who can make anything creative is an artist.
And that's funny that you should mention.
Makes them less special.
It's funny that you should mention that, because as far as like drawing skills, drawing is a skill, like you said in the title. It's a skill, and anybody can be taught that skill.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't like that because it demystifies it. It's like, oh, if everybody can draw, then then I'm not special.
Well, you can go be a special snowflake somewhere else.
No, but that is true though, is that everybody can draw. When my daughter was 5, Corinne, she wouldn't know how to draw a dragon, and so I went through line by line, and instead of telling her to draw a dragon, I just told her to draw lines, and the piece that she came out with, it was simplified.
But it was a dragon.
It looked like mine. It actually looked like something that I had done, as opposed to her. So it's just a matter of skill and learning to see. Well, that's a drawing skill or an art skill. So, but yeah, everybody can do it.
Now, the way you're special though is you could burn exactly what you see here, but it's still going to be different than my piece. It will not be the same. Even if you did it stroke by stroke or thought you did, it will not be the same. And that is what makes each one of us special. We're either all special or none of us are special. In this case.
You know, Lisa says in chat, she says, I can't draw a stick man straight. But I'm sure.
Well, then draw him in a curve.
Yeah, but like people who see my writing, they would, yeah, see, they wouldn't think that I could do art because it's horrible.
You're lucky I can
Somewhat
read another language.
Somewhat indecipherable. I took a test in college about 2 semesters back, and my art history teacher kicked it back because he could not read it.
Oh, really? You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, and I had to transcribe it legibly.
Oh, I do vaguely remember that.
Which was nice, because the other option would have been to fail me. But, yeah, I mean, so it's not even about being able to draw a stick man or not. It's how you put all those lines together and everything together.
Yes. So, when it comes to drawing, if you don't feel confident in your skills, there are things you can do besides watching drawing videos. Having a sketchbook, and I've only recently been doing this. Before this, I wasn't working in a sketchbook, and I'm still working on that. But having a small sketchbook next to you with, I would say, just a couple of pencils, an H pencil, a 2B pencil, and a 4B pencil. I would say that's all you need. And while you're sitting on the couch or at a doctor's appointment or wherever where you have some time that you can spend a few minutes focusing, take whatever it is you're wanting to burn. You want to burn the eye? Just draw out the eye. Practice drawing the eye and practice shading the eye. That way when you go to burn it, guess what? You're going to be burning it better and shading it better. And if you have to, you know, trace the eye a couple of times in your sketchbook first before you start drawing it out, that helps because your brain's learning where everything goes in the right place instead of thinking it knows where everything goes in the right place. And just spending a few minutes in that sketchbook, didn't have to be big, didn't have to be fancy, nobody else has to see it. Just taking that time to practice small areas that maybe you don't feel as confident in. Or if you want to do a smaller version, if I wanted to take this bear, shrink it down, and just, you know, use the graphite to practice my shading, that helps so much. You're also training your brain to see your picture differently. And that's really what visual arts is about, is how you see something.
Correct.
And whether it's good or not depends on what everybody else sees. Let's see here. Another big one is, because confidence, it goes hand in hand. Stop comparing yourself personally to other artists, to other people doing work that you like. And when I say this, there's going to be another side to it. Instead of just comparing yourself and saying, oh, mine looks like crap, so-and-so's looks awesome, I could never do that. Take that negative energy and teach yourself to self-critique your art. Okay, I see how so-and-so, how that picture looks better than mine. What did they do different? How did they do it differently? Let's see, if I try doing it this way, do I like the outcome? Is that what works for me? And that's another way to teach yourself to improve.
It's a lot of people in school
excuse me,
don't understand why you do master copies, and it is for that reason exactly, because you may not even like the artist that you're copying, but you'll learn something about how the piece of art was constructed that will go into your toolbox of things that, that you can use. So if you have an artist that you really like, then, if you want to do master copies of that artist, if they're doing a copy of mine, it would be an amateur copy.
No.
But then...
now, I'm just sitting here talking to them about confidence, and what did you just do?
Val just
you self-hated.
You just hit me.
I hit you again, because that was worth it. You just did exactly what I'm trying to convince them. I was setting up a punchline. Well, there.
Ow! Stop punching me. Because if somebody was to do Val's art, then it would be like a super master copy.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. No. And I think I've kind of confused people in the past when I've complained about, I don't like how this came out. I could have done this better. I'm self-critiquing. I'm not talking about myself as a person. I'm talking about how I put the pen to the board, and if I try it this way, will it be better? So there is a difference. What hubby just did there on putting himself down and putting his art down goes against everything I'm trying to tell them. Jeez. Well, at least they got a good example.
That's true.
See? So, not a fail, a learning opportunity.
So what I take away from this
is that you'll get hit.
If I am down on myself, I would get hit a lot.
At least it wasn't hard this time.
Yeah, it wasn't hard.
It wasn't. It was just enough to get your attention.
It could have been less to get my attention.
It wasn't hard. Ah, they're going to think I abuse you. Okay. So self-critiquing, meaning critiquing your art.
I think they'd be okay with that.
Why?
Apparently there's something in chat, like if you laugh, apparently it makes other people laugh too.
Yes. Oh, me.
Yes.
Oh, I thought they were talking about in general. Oops. Okay. We talked about tracing, talked about not comparing. You really need to be supportive of yourself. You can't expect everybody to be supportive for you.
That's true.
In the end, it is your art. If you like it, then it was worth it. If you feel you have areas that you would like to improve, practice those.
I feel like that every artist goes through this, though. It's like
they do.
You do stuff that I think is beautiful, and because Angel just made a comment about that. Hi, my name's Angel, and I'm a self-hater of my art. Like when you look at your art, you're aware of every
error,
whatever medium you use, but every movement that you use to put in, you're aware of everything in it and how it all goes together. And so you see how it's put together, but other people don't. And every artist, I think, is that way.
Yes.
So we're always self-critical. Val's self-critical of her stuff, and things that I don't see. Like honestly, like sometimes I don't see the. You're like, oh, this is terrible. It's not what I want. And I think it looks beautiful. But then you redo it, and I'm like, well, okay, I guess that looks, a little better. But I still think the other one looks good, But you don't think so. So, but you're being self-critical and specific.
Yeah, it's not about me personally.
In a negative way. Although sometimes we all can project that negatively.
Yes, we can.
I'm sure that Da Vinci had his moments in the studio.
Oh, I'm sure his studio got torn up a couple of times.
But this painting, it sucks.
Exactly.
I'm never going to paint again.
Yep. The Mona Lisa was painted 3 times.
That's right. Yeah.
3 times.
We already covered that too in this. It's like there's scholars are like, who are these other women underneath the Mona Lisa? It's like they're not other women, man.
It's her. Just wasn't happy with the lines and how it came out, so redid it.
Yep.
Another thing I was thinking about, and this applies to me too, because like everybody, I want it now sometimes.
Well, okay. Aristi
yes.
Morjaki made a comment. Well, like, apparently, and this is true, like, I'm just going to paraphrase here.
Okay.
But if you have a relative that's like, you've been working on a piece for a week, and then you have a relative, you know, my mom used to do this to me, that, like, that's nice, and that's it, you know?
Oh, that can be very disheartening.
Or they'll say something like, all your people look the same. That's one that my mom used to do all the time. Like, all of these people that you draw look the same. Are you drawing somebody in particular?
So mom was an art critic?
Yeah. I think all moms are art critics.
Hey, I don't do that to my boys.
No,
I hope not.
No. Oh God, I lost my thought.
We were talking about artistas.
Oh, so that's a good reason if you are wanting to improve, and this is really difficult for a lot of people. It was difficult for me the first time, but you know, you see your work, and maybe your family sees your work, but if you want to get like real feedback, you might need to go elsewhere.
Yes.
And see what other people think, because there's going to be people that, you know, maybe they don't connect with it, but there's going to be some people who do connect with it, and you're going to get different comments that are probably going to be more constructive than, you know, those around you that you are around all the time, unless it's you, because you're very constructive and specific.
Because I see specifically, and that's something else we talked about Sunday. I've trained my eyes to see things.
Well, we were talking about this Sunday, not to get off course there, but I found out that I have eye damage, and it's affecting my ability to see certain colors.
And I don't want to say correct, but it's a bit skewed version of the color.
So I had an existential crisis.
Yeah, I had to slap him around again.
See? Help me! Let me get back chat here.
Yeah, please go. Make sure you go up, because sometimes
I have.
miss good questions, and I feel bad.
If I miss anything, Angel will yell at me.
And if your question hasn't been asked, please re-ask it.
I was going Italian there, Andrew.
I'm trying to darken this area. I've bumped up to almost a 6 because I've already burned the board. Hot board. Because I've already burned it. And the wood's damaged, so I have to raise the heat to get a darker burn.
Few, our illustration actually made a comment. And it reminded me of something. A lot of times this is a comment from other people that drives me nuts.
Oh, okay.
Well, it used to drive me nuts. Now I understand where it's coming from. So, like, you show your work to somebody who's never seen your work before, right? And then the conversation will go something like this. Like, oh, wow, you know what? That's nice. Hey, I have this friend, though, that can draw, like, photographically. Like, you would not believe. I mean, it blows anything away that you've ever seen. Like, you're okay. But, man, this person is awesome. And that can really take the wind out of your sails, you know?
Yeah.
When you're like, okay, so it's okay, but I'm not as awesome as this other person. But what that usually comes from is that whoever sees your art it's that human tendency for one-upmanship.
Yeah.
And they maybe have a friend who's an artist, but they're like they're trying to not only include themselves in the situation, like, oh, you're doing art, and I know art too because I know somebody who does even more
Yeah.
awesome artwork. But it's usually not the case. Sometimes it's legitimate, but I would say probably 90% of the time, this other person that they're talking about is just okay, or
just trying to figure out a way to be included in the conversation.
exactly. So, but it can be maddening, and this can come from family members, and like, oh wow, your cousin Johnny. Yeah, he's a phenomenal artist. Yeah, amazing thing. Yeah, you should talk to him and get some tips. Not really. Just it's just something people say.
Yeah.
Encourage, not criticize, says Andrew.
Yes.
I agree with that. If there's one way to get somebody to quit art, it's just to like tear them down.
Yes, it is. That's why I'm very careful, or try to be very careful. I may not be perfect, but I do try to be careful when somebody does ask for a critique on how I word it, because if I'm not careful, and this isn't about being politically correct or any of that stuff, but if I'm not careful with my words and how I use them, they can have consequences. And that person who, has a whole lot of potential because they're a person and they're trying, if I don't watch how I say something, they could be completely heartbroken and never pick up a burner again. And now the world just missed out on another awesome artist or piece of art. And just because I don't necessarily care for a style or whatnot doesn't mean it's any less art. So being constructive is always helpful. Just being a jerk hurts the world.
Being a jerk hurts the world. That should go on a shirt.
I know, I was just thinking that, hey, I actually came up with something. Unless it's already out there and I just haven't seen it.
That's some wise shit.
Hey, just because I did it doesn't mean you can.
It does mean that.
Okay, because I've got the burner up to 6. It is pretty warm right here. Not warm down here. Not warm up here. And because of the foam and being larger for the Optima, it keeps, this is the hot spot right here. And unless I really grip, I'm not having an issue. I just wanted to point that out. Because all burners get hot, but how they're constructed can minimize discomfort. Which leads me into use the tools you feel comfortable with. Just because if you got the Walnut Hollow Versatool and you love it and you're creating art and you're happy with it, don't upgrade just because somebody else has something that, use the tool you're happy with. Burn on the wood that's safe, but you're happy to burn on. I don't particularly care to burn on pine or oak. But if you're loving how oak comes out, burn away. I think, though we do art to share in general, we do art to share with other people, the process of creating that art is about the artist being in the place they want to be. And I don't say happy because some artists like to create when they're upset, when they're depressed, or whatnot. So you don't have to be happy. Just what works for you. Still trying to get this darker.
I get Angel's comment.
My eyes give a... I don't hate your walnut hollow. It just is not a tool that I particularly care for me.
I have to let the steel out.
He went out earlier.
You know how she is. Grace.
You're leaving me. I always feel like I'm like a fish out of water and I'm flopping around trying to look at chat and talk and burn.
I
like,
assure you that does not happen.
I feel like it.
Grace
I feel like
had a comment.
Yes.
That do no harm but take no shit.
Yep.
That's a good comment.
That's a good comment.
Sounds like you.
Yes, Grace and I have some good similarities. Don't be long. I kind of feel like when you walk out of the room, the crickets start, and I'm like, hello? I do, so hurry up, go fast. Right. Go fast. I'm still on the 6. I'm trying to darken some areas and glance at the chat at the same time. I'm able to do that because I know right here I'm safe to move the pin around. So somebody tell a joke. I'll just keep going on. My biggest thing that I wanted people to take from this is yes, you are, and yes, you can. You are an artist, and you can do it. I think that is even more important than patience and contrast. You can do this. I may, and I'm not being arrogant, but I may make this look easy because I've been doing it for 12 years. I still work to improve. This did not happen overnight. I had to do a lot of art searching. And back when I started, yes, Heather. Hi, Heather. You hear the crickets? I need to get a cricket box. Oh, Jason's coming back. Save me. Oh, and now I completely forgot what I was talking about. I'm just kind of rambling. I do need to go back to smaller goals. Oh, I was telling them that I know, bottom line, that I know they can do the art that they want to do. Everybody.
Oh, okay.
Everybody watching.
Linda. I was telling Linda. You said them.
Oh.
I was like, who's Linda? Who's this Linda?
I'm trying to think if we actually have a Linda. I'm sure we do. So Linda, if you're watching, hi.
Angel has to go?
She has a doctor's appointment.
No!
That's what she was talking about. Normally they're on Wednesdays, but I hope everything's okay, Angel. Alright. We're missing Philip today, too. Where's Bernadette?
That's right, Grace. I'm back.
He's back.
Where's Bernadette? That's a good question.
He's here. Hopefully. Maybe.
Remember, it took a while.
He shouldn't. He's still here. And the group that I have up on the screen right now, that is my Facebook group. Andrew and Philip are my awesome mods in the group. And I definitely appreciate their help. And that's where you can easily share your art and get input. Sheila she just finished her black dog and it looks awesome. In fact, everybody else posts more in there than I do. But I like being able to see everybody else's work.
Mm.
Oh, a little dark there. Oh, alright. This is getting dark. Because this is raw wood, I need to turn down.
Okay.
So you can take that off.
Okay.
And try another one. I don't know what's going on. So I turned it down to 4. This was a 6. I just need to slow down. It should darken up a bit more. I am going to have to go dark right here, but actually this is a really, and it's hot. This is a really dark area. I had it on 6, trying to darken areas I had already burned. But it is not messed up. It is not something to freak out over. I will just blend it in.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Something about the processing.
Huh.
Kind of creepy. She's lurking.
He's lurking. He's lurking. Because I raised my pen and was holding it off the board, the tip reheated, so I need to sit down in an area, a darker area that's already burned, so I don't get any hot spots like I did right here. And then I can slow down and work out to get darker in the raw areas. And what I'm doing is I'm going around the pencil, trying not to burn it in. But this way it's kind of blocked in, so I know where they're at. I know what direction that I'm trying to go for this part of the fur. There we go. So I was talking about, before Seal Dog, setting small goals. If you want to improve how to do fur, just take a scratch piece of wood and practice fur. Practice different kinds of fur. Don't try to jump into a huge piece if you don't feel comfortable. Just practice those areas that you want to improve in. And it'll be kind of like your sketchbook. Nobody will see it unless you want them to.
Mm.
But you can practice. Okay, so, you know, Val moves her pen this way, but if I move my pen this way, it works better for me. And that is part of finding the confidence that you need, knowing that what works for me may not work exactly for you.
That's true.
Some people, when they burn, they, you know, burn a stroke and lift. Burn a stroke and lift. I don't tend to burn that way. I burn the way I would draw with a pencil. That's exactly the way I burn. How I move the pen. I move the pen the way I would if I was doing graphite. So,
Sue Art wants to know, is that white pine you're burning on?
This is Baltic Birch that I buy from Blick. I have the link down in the description. It is an affiliate's link.
Oh, you just answered it.
I just answered what? Oh, where to get it? Oh, you got it. You got it. Because Eve's awesome. I put all of the supplies down in the description. And if I have affiliate links for them, those are in there as well, and they are marked. And it doesn't cost you anymore, but it does help out the channel with a couple of dollars. So, I really want to go... You know what? We're just going to jump in. I've already got the blob. I've burned, so the wood's not completely raw. My wood grain is going this way, and it actually would have been better, and I talked about this last week, it would have been better had I had this in portrait setting instead of landscape. The grain would help me with the fur.
Mm.
You don't have to fade it. Alright, let's get this mouth in there. So what I'm doing, though the area above is going to be darker, I am negative burning. And of course this is raw, so it's going to be darker, so I have to be careful, move a little quicker as I overlap that. But yeah, setting small goals, achievable goals that you can see, okay, I want to do this, and then do it. Once you accomplish that, that right there will help so much with your confidence. And once you feel more confident in how to burn one subject, it helps you to be more daring and try a harder one. I don't suggest staying at simple ones forever. I do suggest you burn subjects that are interesting to you, but I don't suggest, I'm not going to say don't because you do what you want, but I think the harder the next piece that you work on is, the more you learn and the quicker you improve. And that goes for all forms of art, I think. If a musician stays on the same 3 chords, they don't learn to play the other chords, and so their music can be limited and sound very similar all the time because they're using the same chords.
That's true.
Now, if my son was listening, he'd know who I was kind of talking about. Green Day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I need a drink. Oh, much better, thank you. Who am I thinking? It was me who took the drink. It's my cup. Alright, this is going to be really hot. So actually I'm going to blow a little bit and lower the temperature a tad.
So I guess fur, water, glass, and eyes are Andrew's nemesis.
Then get out that sketchbook and practice drawing them. Because you're going to burn them the same way. Or similarly. The contrast, the shapes, they're all going to be similar between graphite and burning. So if you don't feel comfortable with them, do them more. But this way, if you're doing it in a sketchbook, you're not having to prepare a piece of wood. And you don't have to feel like you're wasting a piece of wood. It's easier to kind of get your thoughts out on a piece of paper.
Jamie says hello, everyone.
Hi, Jamie.
Maybe, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Jamie.
It looks like it, yep.
Yep.
Let's get this darker.
Could be Jaime. But
no, I believe that's
well, we have a multinational audience.
We do, isn't that awesome? I believe Jamie, if this is the one I'm thinking of, I believe she's in Australia. Maybe. Actually, no, it'd be really early there. Maybe not. Maybe not. It'd be really early, like almost 7 a.m. there. Alright, so trying to get this darker. We know on the reference photo that there's a bit of a halo. Well, right here. Actually, the halo is closer to the ear. That's the halo. This whole line is the darker line, and then it gradients out. Okay. Good thing I noticed that.
Yep.
So I can go darker all the way, trying to follow the direction of the fur.
It's Jamie, and yes, it's Jamie from Oz. It's 5:47 a.m.
There we go. Because she is one of Chaldean's.
Andrew says he can draw the glass, water, and etc., but it's the burning that's the problem. You know what? That reminds me of a wise quote from Dodgeball.
I still want to see that.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. So
Shall we throw a wrench at Andrew then? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just looking around to make sure
I
we
mean,
don't have any wrenches around this. Because I don't know who gets the wrench thrown at him.
Him and Eve technically have a wrench because they're mods.
That's true.
So he's already got a wrench. I already threw it at him. See, this is not... I gotta be careful touching. It's not a smooth burn, but I'm actually using that to my benefit because it has more of a fur texture. It doesn't... I'm having to do less work, and I'm just trying to go in the direction. What? I didn't do it, did I? Did you spill on yourself? I gotta be careful what I ask.
We made a cheat. Our tea bag broke.
Oh.
Coming down to the bottom of the cup.
Oh. Why didn't you filter it out?
Because the tea bag broke.
So you use
Oh, it's so gritty.
Reminds me of when we were in Lacey. I've got a picture of you drinking a cup of tea where you left the tea bag in for 2 hours, remember?
Did I?
I guess. You did. So you're in uniform outside with your cover on, making one hell of a face. Alright, so I can get rid of all that pencil, since now that I realized what I did with my pattern. See, that's the one thing about like doing a pattern and then setting it aside and not working on it. You'll forget where things are, or why you did what you did, where you did it. So at least if you're going to make patterns early, have them in the computer if you can. And that way when you open the file back up, you can kind of see what you were thinking when you did it. This area still needs to be like really dark. See the darkness here and here. I need to get here. May have to up the heat some more. I've never gone 7. May have to do it. That's the one thing about doing layers. If you start off lighter, you have to use more heat to get it darker. We're at 6.5. Whew. This creates smoke.
Yeah, you don't normally go hot.
But this is a really dark area.
And
I'm trying to match that area in this one.
I see.
I could switch pens. I haven't used any of my other burners in a long while. I started this bear with the Coalwood at the very beginning. That's the first video. All the other work done to it has been with the Optima. Let's see here. Got that. Another thing when you're trying to learn is you really need to use a good, clear, in-focus reference. I've seen some people who get frustrated because they, found an awesome picture of grandma or grandpa, but it's not clear. It's faded. And so they're trying to literally burn grandma and grandpa and are frustrated because it's not coming out the way they want.
Why are you doing this to us? The fire is so hot. Whoa.
You and your voices. This does need to be shaded a bit. We'll go fast. Go fast, go fast, go fast. I don't want to go slow in this area because it's raw wood and it's a light area. So I'm just hitting the spots. All right.
Actually, Jamie says that they decided to be awake for this because of the topic.
Oh, well, I hope I'm covering it okay. Because bottom line, what I want everybody to take away.
Oh, God.
You okay?
Yeah.
You need water?
No, just tea went down the wrong way. Well, tea would be...
Yeah. Bottom line, no matter what kind of art you're doing, you're an artist. And if you can't draw, or what you perceive is that you can't draw, you can learn. You can be self-taught, you can take classes, but you can do it. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, is you can do it.
I think too that if you look up like modern art, like if you're feeling that way about your work, just look up modern art, and you're going to see a lot of examples of artists who are drawing abstractedly, and some of them can draw and paint classically and do it well.
Picasso.
But some of them cannot, and yet history still considers them artists because of whatever message that they created in whatever medium that they used. So,
but when you say message, this piece doesn't have a message. You don't have to have a message.
I would argue with you.
And what would you argue?
That all art is visual communication in some way, shape, or form. The message might be nothing more complex than, here's a happy bear who's got 2 high fives. But there is a message to it.
Or smell my armpit. I can name it that!
Because
smell my armpits!
You're in a rare mood today, aren't you?
I didn't get any sleep. Well, I did for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
I've gone to the loopy stage. Actually, I do think that's what I'm going to name this.
Smell my armpits?
Smell my armpits.
Can't wait to see that at the center of the art.
Or can you smell me?
Can you smell me?
It's some version of that. I mean, George, I named Look Into My Eyes. Eddie is Lurking in the Flowers. Barry here is Smell My Armpits. Or High Five. I don't know. It's a work in progress. I can name your pieces with no problem, but naming my pieces is harder for me.
Yeah, that goes right along when you're in that 40s film director mode.
I'm just trying to help.
Look into my armpits, Grace says. Shelby says the smell of the wild.
Oh, that's a good one, Shelby. You know what? Can you write that down somewhere? I get a pen of it.
Smell of the wild?
Yeah. Can you write that down so I don't forget it, please?
This is my life.
Well, I had to drag you out of the darkness of your brain. I was trying to be nice on how I worded everything.
I fell asleep, and she's like, "Hey, you gotta get up. The live's going on." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." And I was just laying there going back to sleep, and she's like, "Now, you gotta go now." And I was like, "Oh no!" Stop going around the kitchen getting my food.
Let's see here. I'm looking at my notes to make sure I covered everything, because it really is, one, it's a personal topic. Of course, these are my opinions. You may feel differently, and ultimately, you are the one who labels yourself. And nobody, I would argue, nobody can take that away. They may argue with you. They may say some not so nice stuff. But if you feel you are an artist, you're an artist.
You know, one of the biggest themes in painting at the university is when we do critiques. And, a lot of the, other artists are there during the critiques. And the professor may ask a question, like, how did you do this? Or why did you do this? And a lot of times the student, they might know the answer, but they're unsure, so they try and give another answer, or they don't defend their work. And when they don't do that, a lot of times the professors will continue to press them, because I turned everything off.
I remember when I mentioned the airplane mode.
It's on airplane mode.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, keep going.
Anyway, and continue to press that student to try and get them to defend their work.
And just be honest with themselves.
Because ultimately, that's what it's about. And you're going to run into that in, wherever you're at. And that's why they do it, because you have to be prepared to not only talk about your work, but to defend it. And if you can defend it, it doesn't matter what it is. If you can defend it, if somebody says, well, that's nice, and you can explain it, even if they disagree with you,
And even if the explanation is because I just really like that color and that's where I wanted to put it.
Yeah. As long as you're able to stick with that and be just be devoted to it, then that's all that matters.
Not only are you your worst self-critic, but you are also your staunchest supporter.
That's true.
And defender. You have to do double duty. I said duty.
I know. You just pull my words.
As long as it's all that I'm full of.
Oh, God.
And just trying to get his face dark. That's all I try to do.
Well, let's not mention duty and then getting his face darker, okay?
Oh, I didn't say that one. You did. You said that one. Let's see here. Did anybody else have any kind of input or insight or their own opinion on the topic?
Well, Thu says, I don't have a reason I do what I do. Half the time I don't even know. Mainly just because I love it. You know what?
That is a reason.
That's the best reason.
Yep, because you love it. You did it because you loved it. And nobody else can take that away. And to be honest, they can't even argue that. I mean, they can try, but they'll lose every time. You did it because you loved it and wanted to.
I know. Val is being more childish than me today.
Yay.
What? Grace says.
Yay, did I get a flame this time?
But no.
Or he took my flame. Did he take my flame?
She takes the flames from me.
Oh, did he take my flame?
She takes them away.
She makes them go bye-bye. Let's see. I need to darken this with lower heat because then I'll be able to tell better what the contrast is over here before I go too dark.
Jamie has a question.
Yes, please.
I gotta find it. Sorry, I missed your question, Jamie. I'm looking for it. So my question is... Jamie. Aha! Okay.
Didn't know she was hiding, but I'm glad you found her.
You know what, Jamie? I just dealt with this recently, too. Because when people ask Jamie what she does for a living, she feels small and almost ashamed to say, I am an artist. How do I stop that feeling? You know what?
You stand on the damn mountaintop and you scream it.
Punch him in the face.
No, we do not advocate physical violence verbally on this channel.
Then why do you hit me?
Because it's not, they don't see it. They just have your word against
You're
it.
advocating it.
No.
So I had somebody recently ask me why an artist, their question was, they rephrased the question. They said, so you don't feel like contributing to society like the rest of us. And
who said that?
You know who said it.
No.
I'll talk to you about it afterwards. Anyway.
Oh, yes, I know.
You have some people, and I think that comes out of jealousy or envy.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Because people want to do what you're doing. But, honestly, to stop that feeling, like, I think every artist, I always mention Da Vinci, but Michelangelo, Leonardo, all those guys, and ladies, because there are some fantastic Renaissance painters who are women who were not well known because of society.
Or the name was Miss.
But but every artist goes through this, right, where they're asked, well, why are you doing this when you could when you could do this, you know. I'm sure Leonardo's mom was like, why aren't you a plumber? You could be a plumber like your brother Luigi.
Oh, we're talking that Mario. I was about to say, because I don't think...
And so I think at some point, you know, we're all made to feel small because people say, well, what does art do for society? It's like, you know what? Art has a lot of importance in society as far as helping people to understand issues, helping people realize that they're not alone, and
just a smile,
communicating things. Art has, in cases, changed the course of history, and it will do so again.
Yep.
So when people try to make you feel small for being an artist, or if you feel small for being an artist, don't. Because if that's what you love to do, then you do that, because it is important. Because even if you're only affecting one person or a few people, it doesn't matter. But if you change somebody's life for the better,
even your own,
then that justifies it. It justifies what you're doing. And it is important. Because not everybody can be an artist. I mean, everybody can draw, because that's the name of the
yeah, but say everybody can be an artist. It's whether they feel the passion,
whether it's in them to do it or not. Because some people don't want to be an artist. Some people want to be lawyers, you know, or I don't know why, but
I wanted to.
You know, I know you did. Yeah, some people want to do. You know, everybody wants to do different things, and that's okay. That's why we have society, and everybody is different. But some people want to be artists, and some people need to be artists.
And if the arts weren't important, the Greek, the Romans, the Celts, none of them would have spent time doing it. And they all contributed. The Mayans, every ancient society.
Grace gave a flame for us both.
Yay, I got a flame. I got a flame. The flame is mine. You can't have it back. I claim the flame.
You know what?
What?
Beetle in the Box says that her boyfriend is an art critic.
I think everybody's an art critic.
Yeah, it reminds me. I'm not gonna just repeat it, but remember when because we just watched Talladega Nights. Remember they doing the commercials? And Ricky Bobby said, "If you don't like Big Red, then yeah. That's for art critics."
Now, is he an art critic as in he critiques his own art, or is he critiquing yours, especially when you're not asking for input? It's different when you ask for input, and frustrating when somebody doesn't give it to you. But if you're not looking for input, sometimes it's just better if people keep their mouth shut.
But you know, people say the same thing about music and about a lot of things, you know.
About everything.
We don't need everybody's got an opinion, you know.
In the end, it's your opinion that matters about your work.
Yep.
If you are happy, the rest of them can kick rocks.
Yes.
Jamie, there is never you should not feel guilty. If you want to be an artist and you're creating and doing it already, you're an artist. Be proud of it. And if somebody doesn't like it, they can have a certain finger and sit and spin. Being nice. Gotta be nice. Grace will try to take my flame, and it's already mine.
You said that she couldn't take your flame.
It's mine. I got it.
Well, you're gonna sleep hard, aren't you?
I am so sleeping hard. I can't wait to sleep. I'm skipping eating so I can sleep.
When she goes to go to sleep, it's gonna be in slow motion. It's gonna be like.
Well, I gotta get my arm. Okay, I gotta get my brace on first. And bottom line, if you're not meeting the goals,
your arm brace.
My hand brace, yes.
I don't know how many people know about that. I thought I'd clarify.
Oh, I thought I've mentioned it before.
Because brace is sometimes slang for drinking alcohol.
I have not heard that one.
Really?
In all my experiences in life, I have not heard it used in that way. Huh. Must be an Alaskan thing. Maybe. No, my hand brace, because of my disabilities. In order to keep my hand from hurting as bad, I have to sleep in a brace, which actually does surprisingly help.
Grace wants to know, why do you all think I'm mean today?
Oh, I'm just teasing you.
I know.
We love you, Grace.
Did we say you're mean? I'm sorry.
Did you?
I don't think so. If I said anything that would imply that Grace is mean, it's absolutely not true.
Absolutely not true.
Grace is the giver and the taker of flames.
That's it. You can't have mine though. It's mine. She gave it freely.
One who occasionally yells in caps.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. If you make a piece of art and you don't like it, it's okay to do it again. It's okay not to. I do suggest that you hold on to a piece that you don't like instead of burning it in the fireplace or throwing it away.
Yeah.
That piece of art that you don't like, you can come back to it later and compare it to where you're at now.
That's true.
And you'll find out you've improved a lot more than you thought you did.
Yeah, I have a lot of art like that.
Well, I have it too. And what I'm thinking about doing, in fact, is the elephants. My first burning.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about redoing it.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be cool.
To see what it would look like if I did it now. Well, of course, if I'm doing it now, then it's what it looks like when I'm doing it now. You get my point.
She needs to sleep.
Am I rambling?
You're just using a lot of extra words, that's all. Look, you're going to go to sleep and come back, and you're going to come in and look at the bear, and you're going to be like, oh no, I drew a pirate with a mustache. Oh no.
I don't remember doing this. Oh, I need a drink, sorry. Alright, so, nose does need to go darker.
Chris Crafts is here.
Hi, Chris. Alright, I have bumped it down to a 4. I just want this to be a useful video regardless of the type of art you do. I just want you to make art.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if I like it or your neighbor likes it or your kids like it. If you like it, that's what matters. Now, I've got this really light. And I think it's kind of throwing me off. Again, I'm having to bounce around because if I go too dark with this, it's going to make this look really light, which means I'm going to spend more time burning it darker, and I may not have to do that. I do want to blend this in better. Is it working now?
No.
Alright, I'll fix it later. It's gonna have to be okay.
Yeah. So Bernadette didn't get any screen time.
I tested it and it worked, but maybe I did something when I moved things around.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I thought you were grabbing her.
No. Good, huh?
No.
Andrew asks, do you ever crosshatch in pyrography?
Me personally, I'm trying to think of it.
Not really, huh?
No, I don't really. It's definitely a very useful technique and doable, but I don't tend to use it. But you can definitely get some really pretty results from it.
Yeah.
Though I do stipple.
That's true.
I do stippling. I have to be careful with stippling because I can fall asleep the repetition. I'm serious. I have dozed off while burning, and it's not safe. I don't suggest it.
No.
Shoulder's hurting. I'm gonna have to change the angle of this board again.
Well, we're...
I know. I'm just trying to get
I
somewhere.
was gonna say, because we've got
15 minutes.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna change the angle this time. I'm gonna have to raise it a little bit. So is everybody liking the new camera? Is it working? Is the video clearer? And
I think it is. It looks clear to me.
Well, hopefully the lighting's working better.
I thought it would be, but it does.
Well, even though I'm not using it in 4K, it is a 4K camera.
Yeah. Beetle wants to know if you've ever tried pointillism.
Stippling? Yes.
Yeah, it's the same. Well,
yeah.
Pointillism would be like the whole thing, right?
I have done I've done it in ink, along with cross hatching. In fact, it was one of the few drawing classes I did take later on. I did what size is it? 11 by 14 piece.
I mean, that is time consuming.
Yeah, and it was done in ink.
Anybody who can do that, much respect. I can't. Well, I could.
Yes, you can.
I choose not to.
Thank you. You know what? I think that's the best statement. It's not that you can't do it. You choose not to do it.
Heather says the bear is looking at her.
Oh, good. I hope he's being nice in his looks. This still needs to darken up a bit, and so does this, especially since I have more darks going on here. And see, that's part of self-critiquing, looking at what needs to change in order for things to balance. And the more you practice how you look at your piece and go, okay, this is dark, I like how it's sitting here, or you know what, it could go a little darker here and it'll pop the eye out more, things will improve. And of course, my always go to contrast and patience. Mind you, to be honest, I really wish this piece was done. Or at least further along than it is. But it's not.
And I think that's a danger that we all run into as artists, though, because you get to a point where you want it to be done, and maybe you start rushing.
Yeah.
And then if you start rushing, it looks different from the rest of the work, and sometimes not, well, most of the time not as good.
Like when Lisa said that she couldn't draw a stick figure straight. If you took an extra minute and a ruler, would that stick figure now be straight? You took that extra time and put in just a little bit more effort?
I'd have to use a ruler to draw a straight stick figure.
There's nothing wrong with that. I've got my piece of glass for burning straight lines. I don't always use it, but I have it. These are all tools.
That's true.
Tools good. Tracing or graphite paper is a tool. It is a tool to get your lines on the wood in a way that makes sense to your brain and you want to work with it. If you would rather burn freehand, again, that's the way you want to work your art. There is nothing wrong with it. I have seen people, and this ticks me off to no end, and I'm being good right now, who say that if you transfer your lines to the board, then you're really not making art. All you're doing is being mechanical or technical. And I'm sorry, but I call BS. There is no right or wrong way to... What is that?
It's a Viking horn.
Oh. It just ticks me off. Why would you make another person feel bad? And I tell you what, I can draw this free-handed if I wanted. Okay, let me finish. I could draw this free-handed if I want, but I'd have to spend another 2 weeks just drawing the thing out because I would get so focused on getting every single thing right that it would take me an extra 2 weeks to get this piece done. And I just don't have the time for that.
And you know what? They wouldn't say that to
They wouldn't say it to my face.
They wouldn't say that to any of the masters either.
Nope.
But they all had to do that because their work had to be spot on. Michelangelo did not freehand the Sistine Chapel. He had to lay it out.
Yep.
Exactly. Because if he didn't, the Popo would have been upset.
And I will be drawing this piece 3 times. Once to draw the pattern out, once to transfer the pattern to the wood, and then to burn it. And there's only enough lines that make sense to my brain as to what goes where. Every one of these hairlines or shading was not drawn in. It's freehand. And most people work that way. But if somebody tries to make you feel guilty because you don't make your art the way they make their art, sorry, they can go piss off. It just ticks me off, and damn it, I need sleep, don't I? I'm sorry, guys.
It's getting out of control.
So, you are an artist. I know you can do it. Drawing is a learned skill that anybody who wants to take the time can learn to do. It's going to take time depending on you get what you put into it. If you don't put as much time into it and you're happy with where it's at, then you do you, boo. Isn't that right, Barry?
Who are you right now?
What are you talking about? What? I just get mad when people make other people feel bad.
No, I do too.
That just bugs the freak out of me. There's no reason for it. I may not like a piece of art. It doesn't make it any less a piece of art. And it doesn't make the person who created it any less of an artist. Just because I don't like it. Move on. Go look at something you do like.
This has been an episode of NPR, Burning with Valarie, the Angry Viking.
I'm not a Viking, I'm a Celt. There's much less Viking than Celt in me. Let's see here. Did I cover everything? Oh, and love yourself. Be supportive of yourself. You are your own champion. Don't be ashamed to say you're an artist. If you're ashamed to say you're an artist, maybe you need to look at how you really feel about yourself. Maybe there's a little something more that needs a little bit more time put into it. Whatever that is. Jamie, you are an artist. Be proud of it.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. That is what you are. It is your label and nobody else's.
Yeah.
What he said, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. Give my hand a break. Let's see how the light shows. Actually, I had the other light on just so that there was a shadow from my hand.
Yeah.
But maybe I could have got away with it. Oh, wow.
Well, you're pretty animated today. Maybe you should get less sleep more often.
No, my body's killing me.
Oh.
It's okay. These are the 2 erasers I was using.
Who says, I'm good enough, I'm strong enough, and I can be a Viking too.
That's right. On account. But yes, whatever you want to be, you be that. So these are the erasers I was using on screen. And you can find those down in the description. I will sleep, Grace. I promise. I'm skipping lunch today, I think. I'm hungry, but I'm tired.
Sorry about wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm trying to make sure. I want everybody to feel supported and that my words mattered however they needed to hear them.
Yeah.
Yes, Shelby, you are a fire artist.
Yep.
That's how I got my name, Drawing with Fire, because that's what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing next week, topic or art.
Sure to be interesting.
I don't know. I'm going to have to make sure I don't sleep, I guess. Is there anything anybody prefers?
I would like to see the work on the bison, but
On the bison?
because we haven't seen it in a while.
That one is a little further along than this one was.
Hey, you know, and for the toasties, for chat, if there's things that you want to see, like specifically, you gotta let Val know.
Yes, please.
Like, because we were talking about that this last week. Like, do people want speed paints? Do people don't want speed paints? Do people want more live? You know, what do you
What do you
want from us? Just tell us.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Just tell us, please.
Eve says bison.
Okay, I can do bison next week. Okay, they're saying 4 cats.
Eve is always gonna say more cats.
I will find you a cat, Eve, sometime this year, and I will burn.
Look for a box.
I will burn a cat on wood or paper. It might be a big cat, but I would do a cat. And do we have any more questions? You're an artist. Be that artist. Love yourself. Practice what you really want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Hopefully this video has helped you in some way take one more step in your burning adventures. If you're new here, please don't forget to click that subscribe button and the little notification bell. It reminds you that we go live every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Arizona time. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and leave me a comment, especially if you're watching this on replay. If I missed anything or just to chime in, I appreciate you guys spending your time with me. Happy burning.
And have a burnerific day.
Bye, guys.